Hey, welcome back to Celtic Soul with me, Tracy O'Connor, for episode 8 of Celtic Soul. Thank you, first of all, to everybody who's been tuning in so far. It's been a pure delight to watch your reactions to the shows and to bring you the wisdom and the beauty that I have the honor of bringing to the screen with you through the eyes, through the expression of the guests that I've been having on so far. And today you are also in for an amazing treat, as I have the absolute honor of welcoming visionary artist and therapeutic art coach, painter, teacher, and founder of VisionEire, the amazing Maria Johnston. Maria founded VisionEire as a platform dedicated to showcasing and connecting Irish creatives. Maria is based in Ireland, and her work explores the unseen realms of the subconscious, the spiritual and mythological, translating her visionary experiences into incredibly detailed oil paintings, which you'll get to witness as we go into this conversation. Maria is deeply inspired by mythology, mysticism, nature, and astrology. And her current focus is on Irish mythology, ancient traditions, and the Celtic wheel, which is a beautiful run on from our last week's guest, Mary Kennedy. So Maria draws connections between personal transformation and collective shifts. So you can see why today is a beautiful day to really showcase. And I'm just going to show you for an example of Maria at work with her amazing art. I wanted to show you this before we bring Maria onto the stage so that you could actually get to see the power that lies within Maria's visions and her expression of this Celtic soul. So let's wait no longer and bring Maria onto the show. Thank you so much, Maria, for joining me today. I'm so delighted to have you here. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be introduced.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's lovely. Yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. So yeah, just
Oh,
lovely to be able to settle in for a chat.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am just so inspired by your work. I came across you many years ago, I think through the medium of social networks, and then we actually met. And when we met, I had the absolute honor of watching you doing a live painting in the midst of a fundraising concert. And it was such a joy to feel the expression of what you were bringing onto the canvas that was very present in the room as a sort of an underpinning energy. And it's such a gift. So it's beautiful to have you come forward from behind the canvas, so to speak, and to share the vision that you're bringing to life in the expression of what you do. Yeah, it feels like it's a comfortable space to seek, or to allow others to find you. It feels like the universe is just kind of connecting you with those that you needed to connect with at the perfect right time. And it's coming back to that sense of trust that you're held and you're supported, um, and being able to share your visions and being able to explore what they are and how they want to be expressed with others who have the same. It's like you're finding your tribe, your soul tribe in this
Yeah.
work, which is beautifully nourishing as well.
Yeah.
Fabulous, amazing. So, in that, you have, as I mentioned in the introduction, brought together and created a collective called VisionEire. And I'll just share the website here as well. Um, can you share how VisionEire came about? Because it feels like it's such a beautiful opportunity, a beautiful cauldron for all creative artists, Irish creative artists, to come together and to feel safe in this container of VisionEire. I mean, even when you think about it, for such a small country of, you know, a relatively small population of 5 million, I mean, I wonder what the percentage of creative output is from our country over the years, between musicians and artists and poets, and it's just phenomenal, isn't it? So it feels really beautiful that you're creating this now, to be able to shine a light on the creativity that Ireland has to offer. So please tell me a little bit about how this came about.
Yeah, so this has been a very interesting journey so far with VisionEire. So yeah, VisionEire came about actually through a vision I received about 8 years ago now. And this vision was so vast, I couldn't actually. It was very hard for me to actualize or integrate any aspect of this vision when I received it. It definitely felt like it was nearly worlds beyond our own, if that makes sense. So the vision that I received, like, was of a network, a global network that was opening up for everyone, and it was like opening up amongst communities and countries and all the rest. And it included this whole thing of, yeah, artists cross-pollinating and going to different regions and immersing themselves in culture and, you know, heritage and language, and channeling down codes. This is it was a vast vision, channeling codes from star-based aspects to earth-based aspects, and bridging that out into a what would look like a new paradigm of an earth. So this is what came through. Now, at the time, you know, I was working in an art shop. I was thinking about, like, you know, branching out and doing more with my art, with my work. And this came through me, and I didn't really know what to do with it. So yeah, I just allowed it to land, and I wrote things down. I wrote down sort of what I was seeing, what I was channeling. I did drawings around it, and then after about a year or two, I decided maybe I'm supposed to help bring this about in some way. So I had no idea what I was doing. I decided I would try and get some sort of a grant to set up a business, a business of some kind to develop an aspect of this, because I knew it was far beyond me. It wasn't one singular person. This was many people that were stepping in, and they were going to take a different branch of the whole thing. And I was like, I think I'm supposed to do something, but I don't know what that is. So I wrote down these plans. I tried to make, you know, at the time I found it hard to take that large vision and make it something tangible in a 3D sense. You know, so I felt myself almost leaving parts out, because if I was going for some sort of a grant or something like that, or, you know, to set up a business, I didn't think that this was going to be understood. And I was right. And a lot of it was just so far out there. It's like new paradigm. It's like, yeah, good luck.
Exactly. Codes? What?
Yeah, exactly. So I honestly spent about, you know, it's such a journey. It's been to get to a point of a start with this. You know, I was, I could go into all of it, but like there were times where, you know, I was really despairing around this. I was rejected for that grant. I was even at one point like made homeless over the whole thing, which is another story.
Wow.
So I really, again, it's that shaving off, that humbling, like, you know what I mean? It's like stripping back. There was, by the time I brought it forward, there was absolutely no possibility of an ego there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
just so like it was it landed in. I thought that okay, how, you know, but I really just was like, just let this come through in whatever way. It wouldn't leave me alone, you know, either.
Mm.
There's sometimes where I toss it aside and say, well, there's no point in this. I didn't even know what to call it. I didn't
Yeah.
even have a name for it. But over the last, like, you know, number of years, I can see now, you know, I was very far out. That's why I was being able to receive those large scale visions. I mean, it was a bird's eye view of the earth that I was seeing. And that will just show
Mm.
you where my consciousness was residing in relation to me being here. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I felt very hard. It was very hard for me to be in my body and be here
Mm.
because of the density that I felt. And it
Mm.
was just, I was picking up on all sorts of things. So it was easier for me to have the visionary experiences out there than it
Yeah.
was here. But then I suppose it was, about 2-3 years ago that it landed as a piece of, VisionEire. And coinciding with that, I had landed myself, and I
Mm.
was
Wow.
pushing myself much more into the land. And it came up, honestly, it came up through the soil. And that's how I describe it. It was like starlight that had actually bridged the earth, and was I received the vision for VisionEire in a dream, where I saw this bioluminescent light coming up through the woodlands. And like, you could now see all of the intricacies and the all of the things that our ancestors had been channeling, even carved into stone and everything, in the plant life, in the trees. It's like these codes, you know. So
It's reminding me of this particular painting.
yes, actually, yes. So, yeah, that's, yeah, there's a lot of starlight in the earth there. And that's
And
a
it's
lot
so
of where,
true. Mm.
yeah, it's a lot of where my artwork has been going, actually, ever since. Is yeah, my visions started to really shift from being just out there to now in
Mm.
as much in the roots as it is out there. So there's a balancing happening.
Yeah.
um and there's a lot more light being able to penetrate these areas now, and to see what's been laying dormant. And I do feel like there's a lot being laying dormant. I mean, I'm talking now about VisionEire as like the furthest most piece.
Yeah.
But when you bridge it back into the what it actually is, it's a platform. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
right. It's not one person, it's many. And it's what we're all doing in our differing ways, you know, is bringing the what's been laying dormant, what's been laying inside our cells, our cells, our DNA, the land, you know, back
Mm.
to the surface. And
Mm.
this is what it came through as, you know, when I really channeled what does VisionEire want to be. It's the seed of the song of our ancestors that was planted many aeons ago, that is now coming back to the fore, because it's time now for that to break soil and to be
Wow.
seen. So yeah, and
Mm.
it's in the hearts and the minds of many people that it will grow, that it will come about. And on the larger view of it, that's where it will eventually get to a point where it becomes, you know, I see VisionEire now as like it's a little baby. You know, like it's like, oh, cute, like.
Yeah.
But eventually it'll grow to a point where it'll be able to journey and travel and join up with the other networks that are happening globally. And
Amazing.
because it is also inspired by the other movements, artists and visionary movements that are happening worldwide.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
so that's where
really
it syncs up with
beautiful.
the larger piece.
I love that vision, you know, of you're anchoring the seed of the ancestors and you're nurturing this. And what a massive task to have been given. I can understand how, you know, seeing the bigger vision of how it was unfolding, but at a time where the earth and perhaps humanity weren't quite ready for it yet. But we've come so far so fast now, whereas now it's been seeded and it's beautifully growing. As you say, you had to come back down to earth yourself. And that has been quite a difficult journey, I think, for a lot of people who might be tuning in this new reality that we have felt kind of, out there and outside the box, and perhaps the black sheep, and not really feeling held or contained or connected in a real way. But it feels like over the last few years that is now completely shifting, where we're feeling safe enough to come back down to earth and to root ourselves and to relearn nearly a language. It's like coding, it's like translating the higher visions into an easily digestible language for those who are, offering the grants, for example. In it's meeting those two worlds, isn't it? Between, the out there celestial bigger vision and the very kind of, I suppose, linear world view, and where that's evolving to. It feels like this network that you're creating, this platform that you're creating is, I love the vision that you have for it. And I can really feel how the mycelial roots will just expand in their own beautiful way, to reach a global audience for sure. And maybe this is part of the beginning of that in some way. So how has it evolved so far? I know that I met you at a festival last year, and it was a beautiful expression of so many different visual artists coming together in this platform. It felt very supportive. So where are you at with it now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's come a long way, if I think about it, like the first bringing about, well, the very first anchoring of VisionEire was in 2022, and it was me and two friends, and my friend Luke, who runs a festival, gave us a huge big tent and was like, do something, put your art in there, it was just such a gift, because I'm not coming from a background of having all of these means to do all of these things. So just even to be presented with something of like a space where it's like, oh, I didn't initially think that this was the beginning, but somewhere in there I knew it was the beginning. And I love how I just love the humility and how things begin, and you can have all of these grandiose ideas, right? But the process of distilling is to bring it down to the very essence. The essence must be there in order for the thing to be anchored, and it doesn't need to be a big piece, So that was part of my own process. I didn't understand how to take all of that into an essence and land it, but since then, it's like it's evolved to just more and more artists weaving in. And then 2023, we came back to the same festival, and we just expanded it, and then there was 12 artists. And then last year we had in that space, then we had like 15 artists, but then many other people assisting as well. So we had a whole operation going,
Yeah,
So,
amazing.
and then we were doing pop-up sort of events and showcasings in other areas, and bringing it to different settings, different festivals. So how it's organically grown is like in a very mycelial way, it's following the thread of what's already laying there, it's all there, all of the networks, everything that we need is there. It's just about activating them and following the thread, and it's fun, it's joyful. So it's basically, we just crop up wherever we're brought to, there's a And we present in whatever format suits the space and speaks to the energy of the event and what is there and what is being wanted to be expressed, and allowing the artist to be their own individual channel without any sort of like, just you bring you know.
I love it.
And so we either sometimes build spaces like, you know, building galleries, or we just take over spaces that are already there, like spaces that deserve to have this light of the artist ignited in them, and imbue those spaces with what we're bringing through as a vibration. So yeah, so now at the moment
Wow.
I think we have like over 50 artists involved, and
Wow.
they're not all visual artists. They're like, a lot of them are visual artists, but there's also poets and the storytellers. We have singer-songwriters, and you know, everyone in between, and people who are half consider themselves artists but want to be involved in the creative pursuit. We have people who are involved that want to be involved in terms of building spaces, and you know what I mean. So like
Beautiful.
this, it's not just for artists. It's like this wave. It's this movement of how we can do things as a co-creation, and really like it's built on like contribution.
I
As
love
much
it.
as we put in is what we get out. And that's the ethos. It's like what you put in is what you receive. And just with that ethos, you just come together, and it's for the joy of it primarily. But at the same time, the beautiful thing is that it's also, I'm seeing how it's taking artists who have not so far had a platform, and they're making their first sales, you know, and
Oh,
it's building the confidence of the artists now, and uplifting the artists to the point where they can go on and they can do it. You know, it's not to say they can't do this without VisionEire. It's just that VisionEire is there as a holding, you know, if
I
you
love
need it,
it.
if you want to tap into it at any point. And yeah,
Yeah.
lifting artists up and creating more opportunities, you know, because where the artists are the ones who are really, the way I see it is that the artists are the ones who are bridging this new paradigm forward. You know, it needs to be seen, and it's the art that bridges the unseen realms, and brings that into existence, so others then can see that, bridge it in themselves, and start to live that and translate it. You know, so we're all translating, whether it be through word, song, or visual art.
Wow.
Essentially, what it is. You know.
That is so inspiring, Maria, and really thank you for anchoring it and for going through what you had to go through to dismantle yourself, coming to homelessness, to actually like
Yeah.
it feels like this, there was nothing else you could do, that this had a hold of you, didn't it?
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
this was yours to do, and being able to bring that vision to life in such a beautiful way, and loving how you described, you know, the coming together of the artists and popping up. It feels like, you know, it was sprouting. Parts of your vision were sprouting when they were ready to be sprouted, you know, when they were ready to bloom in the perfect right situations and places. And it just feels so nurturing and supportive, as you say, of the artists who may not have a platform. It feels very, oh, this is the new reality. This is what we need to create. It feels like it's an absolute blueprint for others to take on board, and perhaps other places around the world to bring together the communities, not just of artists, but people who are passionate about expressing this. And I love how you're supported in many different ways, as you say, by people who just want to build the sets or build the galleries.
Yeah.
They get your vision, they feel it,
Yeah.
whether they're creative or not, but they are in their own way. It's just
Yeah.
whew, amazing.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. I mean, like the creativity that comes through people. You know, I think a lot of people think that like, oh, in order to be an artist, I need to be able to paint on a canvas and be this or
Yeah.
that. But there's so many ways in which this creativity can come through. And I've just been in awe of the individuals who've kind of, you know, like helped build the spaces, and their creativity that comes through. That's like, whoa. Because again, it's like, we're stepping outside of the whole thing of the four walls now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we get to reframe everything in a field. What do you want to make? Like,
Mm.
there's no limitation here. There's just, we're only limited by what we can gather up in time, or,
Yeah.
you know, what we can conceive in our minds, you know, like it's
Mm.
coming back to that child, you know, who goes out to play in the fields and builds a house. Like, we get to build
Mm.
houses for our art and have people come and look at it.
Right,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
there's no, it's like the wonder of that. And it's like, you know, we're in these structured jobs and structured like roads and houses and everything, and it's like, you know, it's lovely to be able to be a part of something that is just breaking away from that all the time. And that's the point. It's like, the more
Mm.
out there that we can do this, the more that we are breaking into new ground. And I think that's the rate of growth of VisionEire, of all of these networks. Because again, you described it as a blueprint. This is a blueprint, and it's not just a blueprint that is coming through me. It's coming through many, many people.
Yeah.
It could not come through one person because it's so vast. It's so
Yeah.
vast, you know.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
laying the foundations, the templates for what is to come.
Mm.
And it's coming through in all of these different ways, and it's getting people out of the structure linear, like, has to be this and this, into like
Yeah.
something else. And that is opening up the networks. And, you know, that's how I see it going, is that it'll only grow at the rate of what is allowed to come
Yeah.
through us, and to anchor and to move, and, you know, out through.
Mm.
And it's all awakening, and it'll, so it could be exponential, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I'm not fixated on that. All I know is that my most important thing is to be in alignment with myself, and doing this and showing up for it, even when it's difficult and it's hard. I've really had a lot of lessons in patience with this, you know, like,
Mm.
to receive such a vast vision and to have to sit with it and wait with it so long before start. And then even starting, having to understand that, like, things don't move as quickly in this density as I would like, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lesson. It's a lesson in that, but it's also really joyful and just really fun to be a part of as well. I see myself
Oh,
as just, I don't know what's happening. I'm just a part of it. We're all just facilitating, you know, whatever
yeah,
this.
absolutely. That's it. You know, as you were speaking there about, you know, the vast vision of it, I'm just reminded of that acorn, where there is all of the potential of the greatest oak in that small seed. And of course, it can't become a great oak tree overnight. It needs time to be nurtured, to receive the light, to receive the community around it, to, you know, and it's allowing ourselves to come back to the ways of nature, out of the, you know, the fast-paced society that we live in particular with the internet and the social media. Everything is super fast. We want it now. It's insatiable consumerism. um, you're inviting us, and through your experience, to really slow down and to come back to ourselves, to come back to that natural rhythm that is the future and that was the past, the ancient past, but we're remembering those seeds in order to create. And I think you can't create something so fast, because the foundations of it will crumble. It needs, when you're building something of such a vast nature, it needs time to be nourished in each of its stages. So thank you for holding that vision. I really feel so many people will be so inspired by what you're doing. And again, encouraging people to check out visioneira.ie for the over 50 artists now that are part of this collective, part of this platform, really bringing, at the moment, the Irish creativity to light. But there's no reason that that light can't be transferred through many other cultures. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's always fascinating to ask similar questions of different people. And it's often the same answer. You know, it's
Okay.
the
Yeah.
golden threads come in, the sense of imbas, the illuminated wisdom that's coming through, that seems to be held within the land here for sure. And it's time obviously for it to be expressed now at this time of chaotic transition where it can seem to be very dark out there, and that, you know, yeah, it's going in a direction where we don't necessarily want it to go. But what you're bringing, for example, is giving so much inspiration and so much hope. So thank you so much for keeping that vision alive and for expressing it through you in so many beautiful ways. It's been an absolute honor to have you on the show today, Maria. Thank you so much for the conversation. And I know we could go on for hours, and maybe we'll do another session. We'll do another show. Exactly. And
Yeah.
follow your progress as VisionEire and as you expand with it. So many blessings. And thank you so much again. Really appreciate you being here with me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah, I feel like I could just keep talking.
Exactly. Oh, that's great. It's a good sign you're coming
Yeah,
out of your shell more and more.
another episode.
For sure.
Just
Absolutely.
to anybody who is interested in getting involved in anything, you know, VisionEire or anything that I spoke about, is like, yeah, they can reach out to me on my own website as well, or through VisionEire. We, you know, the VisionEire website is still under development. So if anybody, I'm looking out for somebody who would assist us in those areas as well, because obviously I'm a channel, I'm an artist, I'm not necessarily a technician or or any of those things. So just to say, if people want to get involved in those kind of ways as well, like transfer skills as well, for web development and social media, all of these other outlets, they can get in touch too. So yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a co-creation, and we'd be delighted to have everyone involved who felt a resonance.
Amazing. Oh, you heard
Yeah.
it here. And absolutely, I'm sure you'll have plenty of people stepping up to jump into this.
Great.
Such a beautiful vision, you know. Why wouldn't we want to be called to that? So yeah, best of luck with it, Maria, and thank you
Thank
again
you.
so much.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I am just so enjoying these conversations. They're just so fulfilling. They bring us so much joy and so much wisdom through the lenses of the different guests that I'm bringing on every week. So again, thank you so much for showing up. Feel free to reach out to me through my Substack platform, tracyo'connor.substack.com. And if anybody feels like reaching out, you can email me, o'connortracy@gmail.com. Take care.